Welcome to the Sharp Index YouTube. Today I'm sitting down with Shereese Maynard, and we are going to read through the introduction to MicroSkills, a book that's just out by Adaira Landry and Resa E. They are physician leaders, and they give great advice to people about their career. The Sharp Index is a nonprofit dedicated to improving physician mental health, and part of that is getting the skills that you need. I hope that you'll sit down and join us and let us know. Make sure to get your copy of MicroSkills today and like and subscribe to the Sharp Index YouTube channel.
When we told our colleagues, friends, and family we were writing a book to help people navigate the workplace, they asked, "Oh, is it for doctors?" "Nope," we replied. "Oh, it's for women." And again, we replied, "Nope." This book is for everyone. And yet, we believe early career professionals will benefit the most. Because your entry point into the workforce is where you need a primer to guide you. This is a time when we can feel lost, waiting for someone to hand over all the answers. We cannot state our first piece of advice more clearly. Do not expect someone to save you and your career. That was rude advice, for sure.
There are no Rapunzels here. No one's coming to save you.
Honestly, what? You, yes, you, are completely responsible for the health of your career. Of course, you will find and build relationships with your people who listen, guide, and support. But nobody is losing sleep over whether or not your presentation was perfect. And nobody is anxious or stressed over whether or not you get that promotion. These people have never met my mom. In fact, no one is more interested in your career than you. And that is the way it should be. Why does the truth that you drive your own success cause so much apprehension? Because the best strategies for success in the workplace are not so much taught as they are expected to be known. Worse still, there's a pervasive myth that some people have it and some don't. The characteristics of successful people, competence, ambition, humility, dependability, good communication, are often wrongly considered innate traits rather than skills that can be dissected and learned in smaller pieces, what we call microskills. I have like 5 people I need to send this book to right now.
Is there, where's the link to it? You just gave me the, where does she send
your
it to?
email?
Email?
No, to email us.
Okay.
MicroSkills is our personal and heartfelt gift to you. MicroSkills is built on a core and easy to learn premise that every big goal, complicated task, healthy habit, and yes, even what we think of as core character traits can be broken down into simple, measurable skills that are easily understood, practiced, and incorporated. Consider this book a collection of privileged information full of efficient solutions you want as early as possible in your career. MicroSkills is designed to feel immediately accessible. We do not want you to wait until the last page to feel its impact. Our promise is simple. If you buy this book on a Friday, you will be better at your job by Monday. Okay, so we gotta start the clock. No, I feel like though, I don't know if I'm ready for this type of expectation.
the level of commitment.
Now they're watching. Now, if you publicly say, I'm reading this book about having better skills, what happens if I just still bring my middling level skills? You know? We will disappoint. Resa and Adaira. But, let's keep going. As award-winning educators and physicians, we have shared our expertise in outlets such as Fast Company, Forbes, CNBC, Nature, Science, Slate, Stat News, USA Today, the Harvard Business Review, Teen Vogue, the New York Times, and Philadelphia Inquirer. We have witnessed how effective the MicroSkills principles can be, not only in our own demanding careers, but also in the lives and careers of hundreds of students and early career professionals we have taught and mentioned. We have spoken on stages such as TED-Med and as invited lecturers at academic institutions such as Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Northwestern, University of Pennsylvania, and Stanford. Okay, should we read do you want to read the introduction of the author?
Let me see. Oh yeah, I'm going to promote the fuck out of this book. Dr. Landry, I love her. Can't believe how far she's I just spoke with her in Chicago and told her, she was like, thank you so much for all you've done for me. I'm like, oh girl, you owe our community of women success. Go out there and be you.
Okay, you got to read the introduction on page 4.
I'm on page 2, introduction. Is there a separate one, or should I just start from here?
I read.
Oh, you read that already. Do you want me to read it out loud?
I don't
Allow
know.
us to introduce ourselves. Adaira Landry, MD, MED, is an assistant professor at Harvard Medical School. First of all, foremost, if you don't know her or follow her, you should. She's amazing. She's also a speaker. She studied and trained at UC Berkeley, UC Los Angeles, NYU, and Harvard. She has a decade of experience mentoring students and early career professionals. When not caring for patients in the emergency department, she mentors college students across the US and is an advisor for Harvard Medical School. Hey, how about Shereese put on her glasses so I don't mess up? One sec. She is a healthcare contributor for Forbes magazine. She has been a consultant for tech startups and is a co-founder of a nonprofit, Writing in Color, an organization that teaches people of color the craft of writing through free courses led by writers of color. And I've heard her speak on this and the trials and tribulations of being a writer and submitting things and that type of thing. She has an amazing insight. So I hope people check that out. Resa Lewis, MD, is a professor of emergency medicine. She trained at Brown University.
The University. Remember, we met her. We met Resa. Read. Oh, you said Resa.
Resa. Did I say Resa?
Yeah.
That's my niece's name.
I'm like, you know her.
That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
That's my niece's name. She trained at Brown University, the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, the National Institutes of Health, and Harvard Emergency Medicine. She has over 25 years of experience championing peers, students, and professionals at all stages of their careers. She is an early adopter and an internationally renowned pioneer in the field of clinical ultrasound and innovative medical education. A TED-Med speaker and Time's Up healthcare founder, Resa is committed to diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplaces. As the creator, founder, and producer of the Visible Voices podcast, she designs conversations focused on healthcare, equity, and current trends. She's a physician healthcare designer for Perkins and Will, an architecture and design firm. That's amazing. Wow, how does she get all that done? It has not been a straightforward or easy path for either of us. There was no book that blueprinted the specific skills we needed. We achieved our goals by using a trove of Microsoft skills that we learned and compiled thanks to disparate resources, experiences, people, and each other. We do not want your journey to be as challenging as ours has been. We want you to attain your desired success and to use this book as a compass to get there quicker. Rest assured that as physicians, we emphasize self-care and self-compassion throughout the book. Thus, we provide a blueprint to tackle common workplace challenges while not sacrificing your own well-being. That's amazing.
Okay. In preparing to write this book, we took a hard look at the self-help and professional development industry. Okay, let's take a break. I hate self-help books. We talked about this ever? Have we talked about my unmitigated hatred of self-help books?
You know,
we haven't talked about how much I hate them. Like,
I feel like when I think about self-help, I'm like, it's yourself. So why would you go to somebody else for that? Well, am I helping myself by going and getting it from you? I help myself by talking to myself out loud and saying, hey, this is how this could work out.
My 14-year-old actually has been working on like skills, I guess, like, you know, how to make lists, like how to plan things, how to schedule stuff. And sometimes I feel like I forget that a lot of those basic skills are things you actually had to learn, right?
Right.
But so I guess in some ways, self-help books, there's a place for it, you know? Some people need that. But I've always felt like a lot of the people in that market kind of feel like phonies to me. They feel like phonies, or they feel like people who are selling you something, like it's snake oil. Like if you say this mantra 5 times a morning, you're going to be making $1 million. And the secret is to buy me stuff, you know? So,
Yeah.
anyway.
No, and I'm like you. I'm like, it's not that there's not a market for self-help, but I feel like you'd have to be really arrogant to think that you're the one to tell people how to live their lives.
Right.
You know, I always think, I know, well, I'm an introvert, so I do everything I do in my life is to keep people out of it. I think, you know, I hope that doesn't sound snooty, but you know, I'm 100% sure there are introverts out there. Like, I would rather not invite you into. I don't need your self-help book. I need to find out how to keep people away from me. But I think if you're struggling and need kind of a roadmap, maybe those self-help books are good for that. But I think you eventually have to say that you're on your own journey.
I don't know. Self-help books are weird. I don't like reading them. I do like working.
I think it's because of the category. Like those books tend to have, oh, you're this type of personality and all that kind of guru
I
type
also
of
love
stuff.
Personality tests. They'll take all the personality tests all the time.
Right.
Like, you know, from Big Five to Myers-Briggs to BuzzFeed, I love personality tests.
Really?
I'll take them all. Like, what's my spirit animal that's probably offensive and like co-opted from some culture and made up into like a weird caricature on BuzzFeed? I'll take that quiz. Like, what kind of food should I be? I'll also take that quiz. Yeah, I am an equal opportunity quiz lover. Okay. I don't know what that probably means something. And I'm a self-help book hater. All right. Let's go back to their process, their journey. They went on a journey, and I'd like to think if I cannot feel the quintessential rage from them going to so many self-help lectures, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny now that you bring that up, since we're sharing here. That's the same thing. Like, if a book like what we're about to get into with these 2 lovely female doctors, if it doesn't make me feel something about their journey and their process, I tend to get like disenchanted fairly quickly. Yeah. But you know, like Geeta's book did that for me. Like right away, I was like involved in her experience and what she was going through, and I felt it. Like I thought they did really good with the intro to that book, and to bring the reader inside her experience being a doctor treating like patients with AIDS and that kind of thing. So I was like, that was a really, really well written book. So I would hope that these 2 doctors can take us to some of those same places. And if
I'm just hoping for some judginess.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Speaking of judginess,
I've never
look,
seen
I have
Dr.
my fake
Landry doesn't seem like the
tattoos.
judgy type.
I have my fake tattoos, right? I feel like
where are you putting your fake tattoos?
I don't know, but I feel like if we're gonna do this self-help thing, I can read them in here.
Be brave.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Nothing says panic. Nothing says I have anxiety, quite like a just breathe tattoo. What's this one say? Be kind, smile, carpe diem, love yourself. No one knows.
Where did you get those?
You know, such a good question. I think I got them on, what's that box I get?
The box you get.
One of those boxes with cool shampoo and conditioner. I'll have to put my link if we ever post anything from here. Be the change. Huh? Love yourself. There's a lot of love yourself. I like love yourself. Just breathe. Gratitude and smile. Ooh, smile. Rude. I'm gonna put that one. Maybe I should put that on. Smile.
Oh my
I have
gosh.
built
That's
a smile so many times.
we don't want to get into the you should smile more business.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my expectation is to see some real rage because they're both intelligent women. They're highly educated. They're going to get heavily into the self-help book. You know what else I think is interesting about this market in general? There is an advantage to like having belief. Like when we talk about burnout and talk about depression, belonging to a community and believing in the cause of the community can be protective. Like you're going to do better. So that doesn't say there's an advantage to being intelligent or there's an advantage to having, you know, highly curated tools. And I think for me, it will be interesting to see people who are dedicated to academics and accuracy go down this road. Like, I really hope they take us on a journey. Most people that I've talked to who are super smart, when they go to those things, not all of them resonate. Some of them, sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just a disconnect with highly intelligent people. So
That's true.
just my bias. I hope it's a little bit weird. All right. We listened to lectures, attended workshops, and read books and articles about the workplace. We spoke with contacts from a range of industries: business, medicine, marketing, tech, law, graphic design, education, retail, and the arts. We discovered overarching themes as well as a large gap. Books promise so much value and proclaim that ostensibly anyone can apply their teachings. And yet we know this cannot be the case. Despite their best intentions, many of the lessons fall flat. Why is that? Most source materials, despite their claim of accessibility for all people, start from a premise that narrows their relatability. Okay, let's talk about Lean In, because that was a book about self-help. And my big takeaway was, if you are independently wealthy, you will do well.
Right. Right.
Secret, the secret is to have wealth. And I was like, that is not a secret. I don't understand why we needed a book.
Well, and see, I think it kind of, if you understand what people need, I think the whole Lean In book, because I read it, and I have nothing against Cheryl, but I feel like when you write books like that from her perspective, it's like you said, it's like, oh, as long as you make money, where it could have really been an opportunity for her to look at women from different places in their careers and their demographics and that type of thing, and made it into something about leaning in and that type of thing. I think it was all about, yeah, I've got money, so I'm going to have all these choices, and as long as I make them, I'll be fine. It was a little entitled on that, when you think about it in that way. But I think maybe she was trying to inspire the next generation of women, but I think she missed the mark on that.
I also think people are sometimes confused when they come from a place of privilege.
Yeah.
They don't always see it. And often what they're
like they really believe like, oh, I went to the top, I had to borrow money from my parents. Well, I'm interested in a story about the people who had $0 and went to the top on their own. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if seems dark, because that's a hefty expectation we're putting on people with nothing, right? Like, but
cream always rises. I mean, I think those stories inspire us more than somebody that just walked in and signed right up. Oh my God, I had to borrow money from my parents. Oh, woe was you. How did you ever survive that?
I think the expectation that other people will be able to replicate it is inaccurate, right?
Right, so, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little tone deaf. Maybe that's what I'm looking for.
Here we go. We witnessed authors, coaches, professors, and executives make assumptions about the privilege and capabilities of their audience. Assumptions about the reader's expendable income, the size of their network, the amount of their free time, their confidence in engaging a supervisor, their mental health, and their personal identifiers, like ability, age, gender, and race. It is unfortunate that in a reader category that promises to help the masses, the majority of books are authored by white men who, if not born into wealth, at least had access to the network, time, and institutions to help them obtain it. There is nothing inherently wrong with authors sharing the wisdom they have. We find, however, that the assumptions some authors make can lead to inadvertently skipping vital steps, teachings, or resources others need to access opportunity. For the reader who does not have the bandwidth, network, or disposable income, many books produce feelings of inadequacy, shame, confusion, overwhelm, and discouragement. They left out rage, scorn.
I'm telling you, I love this introduction though.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
wrote the book we wish we had when we were starting our professional journey. MicroSkills aims to avoid preconceived notions. Let me start that sentence again. MicroSkills aims to avoid preconceived notions about where you are. Each chapter is structured in the same format so you can learn our approach and practice until it becomes rote. Our objective, to mitigate assumptions by using 4 teaching tools. 1, personal vignettes. These anecdotes serve an emotional function to reach you, the reader. Stories connect humans, and we want you to vicariously connect with our experiences and see yourself in these stories. Each microskill is based on a real story from our lives and illustrate the skill we want to teach.
I love this idea of number 3, where they have normalizing the difficulty of change. I think a lot of people are delusional about the ability to change and the ability to change habits, and how hard that is. A very difficult thing to do. And I think even when I talk to like startups and they come with these like behavioral health tools, that's the first thing I asked when I talk to them about their builds. It's like, what's your plan for beyond the 6-week window? Because we know people drop off of these programs, and always how I explain it to them is like the difficulty of change and changing habits and that type of thing. If you don't consider that in your builds, you're going to not be sustainable, because we know change is difficult for most people. And I always get that same like, oh, we didn't build that into it, like we don't have enough, enough of an audience. And I'm like, you got to think about that. Let's normalize that change is difficult, instead of acting like you can just get people to, hey, just do this thing we wrote and use this thing we built and life will be perfect for you. Well,
it'd be easy. Just like Microsoft Teams. All right. Addressing why the need for change. Oh, this is what you're saying. We don't want you to change for the sake of changing. We want you to believe you need to grow and be motivated to evolve in a way that makes you better at work. Each microskill explains the stakes, the effects if you adopt the skill, the effects if you don't. 3, normalize the difficulty of change. Again, you talked about this. We are exquisitely aware of how easy it is to accept the status quo, but we want you to avoid stagnating and adopting the good enough is good enough attitude. Each microskill identifies why that particular skill is hard to learn and integrate. We try to remove assumptions about your education, experience, access, and interest. We err on the side of describing why you might struggle with gaining a skill. 4, critical actions. We do not write a book of theoretical concepts. We instead teach you the small steps, the how-tos of being better at work. By breaking a microskill down into critical actions, you are able to see the pieces that make the whole. Follow action A, B, and C. See how they build upon each other. Explore the critical actions for any microskill and discover where gaps that need attention lie. We believe identifying, learning, and integrating microskills will help you navigate any challenge. For example, in the emergency department, we use microskills to take better care of patients. Think about a patient who is not breathing and their heart has stopped pumping. They need CPR. Take care of that patient requires a collection of microskills. Assign team members a role at the bedside, prioritize the medications to give, do chest compressions according to a certain rate and rhythm, check for a pulse after the measured amount of time, and keep calm throughout the high stress moment. We also have used microskills to navigate careers in academic medicine. Why would we need such skills? Likely many other fields. Why would we need such skills? Like many other fields, our industry is a place where women are less likely to be designated as leaders. promoted as professors, or selected as award recipients. It's a simultaneously demanding and discouraging path. Like the lack of salary equity in other fields, women physicians don't receive the same salary as men physicians for equivalent work. Although the majority of students in the USA medical schools are women, and 80% of healthcare workforce is women, leadership roles do not reflect this. Women have barely gained representation as chairs of deans in the past 25 years. Resa was the first woman professor of emergency medicine in the department she joined in 2017. The lack of equity is compounded with even worse statistics when we consider intersectional identities. For example, less than 6% of physicians in the United States identify as Black. Whoa, that's low. Adaira was the sole Black woman
It
fellow.
hasn't grown since the 70s.
Black woman faculty in her department for 6 years. I think about that too when we're looking at things with like Black maternal health or like our.
It does have an impact on care, and it does have an impact on society as a whole, because we know that when patients are seen by doctors who are from their same backgrounds, their outcomes are better. And yet we have institutions that still put up systemic barriers to keep women, minorities out of medicine.
No, they really do. And I think about our work too in health equity, just like the idea that like sometimes when we say like we want to recruit more physicians of color, it's or Black physicians, people are like, what does that even mean? Like I don't understand, or they don't really get.
But because there's a disconnect.
They don't really get it.
I see it even with health tech, like I told you the other day, how I really wish health information technology leaders and that whole industry would understand, if you break something, it is your responsibility to contribute to fix it. We know that the things that we build in some way contribute to physician burnout, right? So why is it so hard to get these same companies to say, okay, maybe I should help do something about the problem? You broke it.
Right.
You're definitely gaining from it. Help fix it. It's just a small thing to
they can fix it, and
they can fix it,
and they can fix it, and they can invest in it. Like they can invest in individuals and in systems that will help.
Exactly. And even when you look at because I always tell you, I think the work you do with the Sharp Index is phenomenal, because it recognizes that physicians are struggling and do need help that they don't get get internally. But I always say, if you are saying, if you bring students into medical school and we get them to do all these, amazing things, there's two things. If you're thinking about a person of color coming into medicine and going into residency, they have their normal work, and then they have the work of being the minority in that organization. So they have to fulfill all those, I always call them race jobs. So the university will get them to do their research on race, all that stuff, in addition to their other work. The other thing is, if we think about it, if we're saying that people are persevering through medical school, that I survived medical school and residency, I persevered. You have to also admit that we may be sending unwell people to the front lines of medicine, right? Mm-hmm. So if you
and we've made them unwell, and you've made it worse, Yeah.
So if you're in medical school and you're struggling, because we know that by year 3 of medical school, the empathy in doctors is removed and it's replaced with something else, something unhealthy, let's say. So if that's happening, when are they getting well? No one's tracking that. So if we see the rates of burnout and suicide in doctors that is higher than the general population, it didn't just start when they hit the floor. I was called from door to floor. You were damaged when you came in, and you remain damaged. No one's done anything to support you.
We put you in a very toxic situation.
Exactly. We told you we better not find out that you're struggling, because we're going to try to ruin you if that happens. But we don't give them the support they need to be well in medicine.
Right. All right.
I'll jump down off my soapbox now.
Adaira was the sole Black woman fellow and then sole Black woman faculty in her department for 6 years. The persistent underrepresentation of physicians of color is disheartening in medicine, 40% of women move to part-time practice or leave medicine altogether within 6 years of completing their training. What the heck? A
Yeah, more women
2023 study.
enter medical school than males, but by the time, like I said, door to floor, by the time at the floor, over half of them have left.
This is wild. A 2023 study showed that the median age of attrition for women emergency medicine physicians is 45.6 years, whereas for men, it is 59 years. So survival in our professional environment goes beyond grit and passion. To advance, we had to strategically navigate and deeply comprehend the workplace that had been infiltrated with systemic ways to oppress our growth and inclusion. Using MicroSkills, we help you dismantle the architecture of success down to its foundation and building blocks. Had we known this strategy earlier, we would have moved further, faster, and more efficiently. All right, page 9, your turn. Or we can stop reading.
Down to page 11. Okay. Readers may ask why we did not write a designated chapter or section of the book dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I wouldn't ask that. I would assume that it's inclusive. It's already, it's in the pages because you are.
Yeah, I learned that from you, though. You don't have a separate thing. This is just part of what we're doing.
Exactly. Although I will say that we are the outliers. Most people, like she mentions, wouldn't know. So just as in the workplace, where there is no separate chapter for being a woman. Okay, Adaira, I feel like this is me. This is exactly what I talk about. There's no woman, gay, black,
you're gonna love interviewing her. You guys are like kindred spirits. You're gonna be like,
yeah. We decided to integrate the impact of personal identity throughout the book. You will see those aspects of who we are throughout the entire read. We share our perspectives. It's almost like they were in my audiences and were like, she's on to something. We share our perspective, the way we see the world and the way the world sees us. We deliver strategic advice and illustrative stories that are helpful for anyone, especially those who feel disadvantaged based on their identity. When we were brainstorming and writing the framework for MicroSkills, we kept returning to these 3 truths. Number 1, time can only be spent. As emergency medicine physicians, we never save time. If a task is no longer necessary, we immediately use those saved minutes on something else. No matter how we see it, every minute matters. In fact, seconds matter when it comes to saving a life. But even if your job does not involve life or death situations, the fact remains that every one of us is constantly spending time on work or thinking about how we will spend our time on work. If a task is no longer required, time can never go back into a savings account for later. Something else fills the void. Truth number 2, the world is not equal. Everyone comes to the table with varying experiences and resources. Any group of peers will have differences in education, knowledge, money, physical abilities, responsibilities at home, and networks. Some people get a copy of what we call the workplace playbook from family or friends. Many people don't get a copy and have to figure out survival skills and success on their own. That is so true.
That is true. I've noticed that.
Yeah, because when you think about it, let's say you come from a family where your dad and grandfather, whatever, were in medicine. You already have a jump start, or anybody who comes into it who didn't have those same things. I noticed that in working with Lauren Academic. While MicroSkills cannot solve the global inequities in and of the workplace, they can equip readers with the tools to accurately assess their own strengths and weaknesses, what they have access to, and what they lack. By taking the initiative to level off an inequality with skills acquisition, I'm about to cough, sorry. You begin to gain confidence navigating the workplace. Truth number 3, learning is limitless if it is accessible. Very few things in this world are as limitless as our capacity to learn. Amen, sister. In the workplace, an openness to learning only strengthens you, your expertise, and your trajectory. Access to knowledge can in itself feel prohibitive, and it can be difficult for individuals with limited funds, learning disabilities, or dependence to enroll in a class or read a book with dense data and case studies. There is no way MicroSkills will teach you everything about the workplace, but it will show you the power of recognizing and resolving your own knowledge gaps to make success more accessible. The workplace is complicated because you do not work in a vacuum. There are 3 pillars to any workplace: the self, the team, and the work. All 3 are important to consider as you read this book. Some of the strategies and skills we suggest are relevant to the self, how you prioritize your calendar and opportunities on your plate. Some are related to how you interact with the team, communicating clearly, providing support. The rest guide you on how to consider and complete your work, like meeting timelines and building expertise. This book will undoubtedly shape your career. Oh, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, they're not afraid. They're not afraid.
But we need to normalize one last thing. Improvement at work does not require deep pain, constant self-sacrifice, or physical, mental, or spiritual exhaustion.
Amen.
Using both compassion and strategy.
The Martyr Olympics are very strong. Very strong.
MicroSkills, small actions, big impact, focuses on you and supports your journey to be better at work.